Greetings. My name is Nova Arinze. Today I'll be sharing with us on a topic I titled The Blame Game. Blame means to assert or consider someone as being responsible for something negative or being culpable for a negative situation. That is what blame means. Why the blamer is one who engages in blame shifting. He engages in shifting blame from one person to the other or from one thing to the other. I was born in a historical town called Abudu in Edo State, and Abudu is synonymous with the river that runs through the town. The river is called Oriomo. We grew up with the stories of drownings intermittently. You're going to hear stories of drowning. And because of that, those of us that were born in that town were very, very conscious of the river. So most times when you hear the stories of drowning, it's usually visitors that don't know about this river or how deep it is and the current, how strong the current is. I remember coming back one day and decided to go to the river. On getting there, I saw a young man gasping for breath. He was struggling for his life in the river. Looking at the river bank, I have some young men gathered together, blaming each other. One was blaming the other person as being responsible for pushing this young man inside the river when you know he cannot swim. This one said, no, it's you. They were busy exchanging words, whereas the life of the young man that was inside the river was ebbing away. I had to dive in to save this young man. Have you ever been to the scene of an accident, maybe in Nigeria or wherever you are watching me from? You're going to see a group of people standing and discussing and asking who is responsible or who is the cause. Whereas the victim lies down or the victim is in his or her pool of blood, losing his life. But you see people standing and exchanging blame. Who is responsible? It's the same thing you have all over around us, in all facets of our life. You're going to see one political party or the other blaming the other. You're going to see one person blaming the other, the boss blaming the subordinate. It's just all around us. Blame game is a lower conscious activity. It is usually by the ego. Usually people engages in blame game to refrain from taking responsibility. They engage in blame game to prove their innocence or self-righteous worth. They engage in blame game to make another person suffer. They want to shift that accountability, that responsibility to the other person. But what we fail to understand is this: as long as you engage in the blame game, you lose your creative ability. You lose control because you are now at the mercy of the person whom you say is the victimizer. Because when you engage in the blame game, you make yourself the victim and the other person the victimizer. And as long as you engage in the blame game, you lose your creative ability. You cannot respond to the situation. You cannot take charge. You cannot take control. I remember Will Smith in one of his quotes said something. He said, taking control or taking charge of your life shows responsibility. So, if you want to be in control of your life, desist from engaging in the blame game. But I will ask, why engage in a blame game when a life is at peril or when a life is involved? Why engage in blame game when someone's heart is involved? Why engage in the blame game where readily you can easily solve that problem? You can easily address the situation. Why engage in the blame game? Because like I said earlier on, as long as you engage in the blame game, you leave yourself open, You leave yourself at the mercy of circumstance and those people around you. You're trying to say, I cannot handle this. This other person should take care, should handle it. I'm going to conclude by saying this. We need to change our thought process whenever a challenge or whenever something happens. Instead of engaging in the blame game, why not change your thought process about that situation? The Bible made us understand. It says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if you think that you have somebody to blame, that you cannot respond to the situation, meaning you are doing what? You are handing over the control of your life to somebody else. So like I said, the first thing we need to do, we need to change our thought process, our thinking process. The second thing we need to do is this. We need to be solution conscious. When something happens, think of the solution. Let it be the first thing that will come to your mind. How do I resolve this? What will I do to resolve this? What will I do to come out of this? What will I do to solve this? Not looking for who you're going to hold responsible for the situation. The third thing I want to make us understand is this. We need to learn how to respond and to respond adequately. It doesn't end in you and I responding alone. You must respond adequately. Your response must be adequate enough to address the situation. The fourth thing I want to make us understand, and it is very, very important. You and I, we are more responsible for our life than you can ever think or imagine. Don't live your life at the mercy of somebody else. Take charge. Take control. It is important because, like I said, the level of responsibility you take in your life determines how meaningful your life will become. Another thing I want to share with us is this. Blame shifting limits our creativity. When you settle down on shifting blame, shifting responsibility, it limits your creativity. So, like I said, take charge. Don't settle in that cesspool of blame shifting. Also, I want to tell us this. We need to step out of the crowd. This is a typical accident scene. This is what happens when you play the blame game. If these men had left the express to go and resolve their issue or respond adequately, maybe they would have still been alive till now. This is what happens to us when you play the blame game. When you play the blame game, you expose yourself to adverse situations and circumstances. Peradventure, you are in an accident scene tomorrow. Don't join the crowd. Start asking who is responsible. Help the victim. Step out from the crowd. Take action. Help the victim. Do not wait. It is very, very important for you and I to step out of the crowd. Finally, like I said earlier, there are some things you can change. There are some things you cannot change. But the problem is you don't know there are a lot of things you can really change about your life, about your situation, about your job, your challenges, everything you're passing through. There are a lot of things you can change about it because the ability to create things has been handed over to you. I would like to wrap it up like this here. I would like to conclude like this. Our life is as meaningful as the number of responsibility that we are ready to take. The more responsibility you take in your life, in your job, in your family, in everything you do, the more meaningful your life becomes. I would like to stop here till I upload the next video. Thank you.
Maybe you should take it slow.